A second disease among Muslims is the mixed understanding. A person could have strong belief and faith in Allah. He could have loyalty to Allah. But as we have heard earlier when Sheikh Ra'id was reading the Quran, that the believer in his own understanding and in inviting others does that not blindly but with understanding. Remember the ayah? قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِي وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. The instruction is given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the Quran. Allah tells him, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this is my way. I invite all to Allah, ala basira, with understanding, not blindly, with understanding. Me and those who follow me, and glory be to Allah, I am not among those who associate others with Him. What is the practical implication for that? Because that disease is much more manifest among Muslims living in the West, even though it's spreading. The implication of that is that we have to weigh and evaluate any other philosophy, idea, or movement by the scale of Islam, by the scale of what Allah taught us, and use that to judge its correctness or error, not the reverse. This is a big problem, because oftentimes Muslims are called on to give up, not details, but to give up some of the thawabit, some of the basics of their belief in the name of being progressive, women's liberation, in the name of human rights, in the name of this or that, as if all of those calls and slogans we hear today, whether on the American scene or the international scene, are the absolute and ultimate reality and truth that can never have any shortcoming or weakness or error. As if we're implying that if there is any error, it must be the error of our Creator, hasha lillah. And as such, we have to mold Islam, change it, eliminate some of the basics even, in order to be called progressive, socialistic, this istic or that istic. That has nothing to do with Islam. But I must caution also that this should not be taken to say that Islam has nothing to do and no common ground whatsoever with basic concepts of democracy, socialism, or human rights, or liberation of women, you name it. This would be a big mistake. It would be a grave mistake. But there is a big difference there. There is surely a huge area of common ground between those movements and Islam. But which one is to judge the other? That's the big difference. Take the area of human rights. And in one occasion, in a presentation on that topic, it was clearly pointed out a huge area of common ground, that there is a lot more in common between some of the basic concepts of human rights as adopted by United Nations and what Islam provided 1400 years ago already in Quran and Hadith. The same thing could go towards the treatment of women and other things. If one look at not the cultural practices of Muslims, but what the normative teaching of Islam in its pure, authentic sources teach. That's fine. It's a huge area of common ground. But it is Islam that remains the final and ultimate judge. Which means if some other areas in these calls or movement divert from some basic thing in Islam, then the teaching of Allah take precedence over that. Because human beings can come up with wonderful ideas, only to discover a few decades later that they were wrong, and they have to modify it. So why have that instability? We take the stable teaching of the one who knows everything, past, present, and future. He knows everything about our nature and what's good for us as humans. And take it as our ultimate point of reference and ultimate authority. In that way, we can be very open, can be very open-minded to any movement or ideology or idea. We look at it and examine it according to the criteria of Islam. Whatever partial points agrees with Islam, we accept, because Islam taught that before. Whatever differs with that, we have to reject, because we cannot say Allah is wrong and some international body or convention is the absolute right and truth. And we all know what kind of politics even goes on before such resolution take place.